What is up, Defects? Welcome to the King in Black issue number 2 review. Let the bodies hit the floor.
What is up, Defects? Matt Forge here with, of course, my boy, The Butcher. And we are about to break down the King in Black issue number 2. But before we get started, you know what we always ask you to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, throw a comment in the comment section. Tell us what you thought of this video, what you thought of this issue, King in Black number 2. If you're reading it, if you're not reading it, if you stopped reading it, we want to hear about it. And the new thing that we're asking you guys to do is share. Share the video, share the channel, get it out to other people. We're trying to get more eyeballs on us. We want to do bigger and better things for the YouTube community and, of course, all of our subs that have been with us from the beginning. So, without talking too much more, let's get into this book. All right, guys. Issue number 2 of King in Black from Marvel Comics. We've been waiting this one for 3 weeks. I know we're both excited about this. Jay, tell me your initial thoughts. We're not going to do any spoilers just yet. We will let you know when we're going to hit the spoiler section. So, Jay, tell me your initial thoughts on this one.
Right off the bat, guys, went to the LCS this morning, grabbed the book, just sat in my car and read it so I could get as much information out to you as possible. Listen, after issue 1, we got Eddie Brock smacked by No, falling through the sky. We've seen it before, and we'll get into it. I was super excited to pick this up, guys. You know, we've been on Pressable Defects. We've been big on this series, Venom and No, from the jump. So I was super excited. Matt, what'd you think?
I'm telling you, I was pleasantly surprised by issue number 1. It definitely raised my expectations for issue 2. I liked issue 1 better as far as just an overall comic, but I like where this is going. Let's put it this way without giving too many spoilers. The last few pages were very important. That's what made the whole issue for me. The way it was written, I definitely felt like I was part of it, which I said on our last review. The number 1, like, it just got me into the story. Like, I felt like I was in it, which doesn't happen that often when I'm reading a comic book. This one threw me right into it. Some of the writing was a little extravagant, like some of the stuff when Spider-Man was talking, some of them, it kind of felt like they broke away from who they are as a character. But maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they were showing how dire of a situation they are in. You know what I mean? What can I say? Cates and Stegman killed it. We threw some props last week to J.P. Mayer and Frank Martin, and they get it again. Right, Jay? The colors, the inking on this, incredible. Like, this comic book is incredible from an artistic standpoint as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They killed the interiors, guys. I'm all in on this story, man. Kate said there was going to be death. He said this was going to be serious. It has been serious.
He's delivering. He's definitely delivering. Spoilers. Guys, let's do it.
Spoilers are coming. So if you haven't read it yet, read it now. Then come back into the video, and we're going to talk about the spoilers.
Yes, sir. All right. So we're gonna run down some of the. I'm just gonna run through the story a little bit, and when we get to an important panel, we're gonna throw it up on the screen, and we'll talk about it. So, you guys can all read, so I'm not gonna do too much of it. But we start off Venom. We know he was falling. He smacks down on a car. He gets blasted, right? Spider-Man swoops in. He realizes the shit just got real. Eddie's in trouble, right? He comes in, and the next panel that we see is, we were talking about this last week, Jay.
Matt Forge picked this up, guys. He has absorbed the void. You see that essence in his eyes. This is I think this is it, right, Matt? This is the only panel of Null that you actually see in this issue.
Yeah, there's like one other the next panel right after this. You see a far away shot for him where he says, "Honestly, how hard is it to kill one man?" Which
Yes.
is interesting that he says that because they repeat that phrase later on in this issue. But yeah, that's the only time you see Null really.
That's it, guys. And like I said, look at his eyes. He's absorbed the void. Eddie Brock took a bad spill. Let's get into more.
Yeah, so something is coming with the fact that he absorbed the void from Sentry. It's clear because the eyes are still happening in issue 2. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I don't have a theory yet, but maybe by issue 3 I will. So now you see the Avengers and the Thing and a couple of the X-Men have been nullified. They weren't killed. They were basically become part of Null's army. Very smart, very strategic on Null's part. He is nullifying the Earth's mightiest heroes. So Spidey sees this. He knows he's in trouble. He thinks it's about to end. He thinks it's over. And what happens? We got Johnny Storm coming from the sky, Jay.
So the only thing that disappointed me about this issue is you don't see how the Avengers are actually nullified. They just happen to be nullified in the issue. But listen, you got the Earth's mightiest heroes, and now they are Team Null. Spidey is freaking out. You could tell by his mask. He'd been through some shit. Eddie hit the floor. Spidey didn't save him. Shit is getting real. Spidey knows it.
That's it. So basically, the Torch sacrifices himself more or less to get Spidey and Eddie out of there. I think throughout the issue, you realize that everybody knows Eddie is important and he's going to be part of the victory if they have one. Okay, so he goes supernova. He's saying that it won't kill the Avengers. It'll just maybe harm the Null shell that is around them. So we're assuming that all these Avengers and the X-Men, they are still alive after the supernova, this nova blast. So
Yeah, basically after the dialogue between Spidey and Human Torch knows he's going to be nullified once he does this,
right.
and he does it anyway, just so Spidey can get out of there with Eddie Brock. And then you get into the next part. Matt, get into the next part.
So the next part, we see Eddie in the hospital. He's got tubes coming out of everywhere. Okay, and we got Valkyrie speaking to Spider-Man. And she's basically saying that I could see when there's death around, and you see death right over the top of him. But another important thing that she starts talking about, Jay, in there is Sentry.
Yes, so she talks about saving Sentry's soul. So we all see what happens with Sentry in issue number 1. He was tore apart by Nolan. 2 panels, guys. 2 panels. That's all it took. So Kate's alluding to his soul strikes a chord. That means he's still going to be around. How they're going to resurrect him, I'm not sure yet, but his soul is still in the picture. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right. So what we're going to do also in this video is we're going to show some books that we think could be important to some of the panels. We dug a little bit deep. We tried to. There wasn't the same, specs that there was in number 1, where it was kind of clear cut with the symbiote void and things like that. This one we had to dig a little bit deeper on. So we're going to bring up some books. Maybe they have some importance. Maybe they don't. But it's fun to speculate. We're not saying run out and grab everything, but these are some books that we thought could be important to what we read. So starting right off with, I think the next one up is the King in Black tie-in, a Valkyrie's book. And you can see Sentry on the cover there. So like Jay was saying, we know something is going to happen with Sentry. Are they going to reboot him? Is he going to come back into the picture? Does he get reformed? Does the void need to re-enter the body? I don't know. So that'll be interesting. But I feel like this tie-in that is going to be one that we need to read to see what's going to happen with Sentry.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is issue number 2, A Return of the Valkyries, guys. And you can see Sentry on the cover. So Cates threw in there that his soul is key. Listen, guys, read your comic books. They mention the Sentry's soul being saved That is a key right there. That is something to go on. Is his soul going to be a major factor in it? Probably. How they're going to use it, I have no idea. Could
No
they put
clue.
his soul into Eddie Brock? Could they put it into something else? Could they resurrect the Sentry, Bob Reynolds? I don't know. But looking forward, obviously the Sentry's not done.
Yeah, I think we could agree with that. I think we could agree on that. So, just my mic a little bit. All right. So now we see Spider-Man. He's going to pick up Dylan. That's what we're seeing next. Dylan's still in the bunker. He thinks his father's dead, and he's like, "Not yet." Spider-Man's like, "Not yet, but we got to hurry." So they get the hell out of there. Next scene that they cut to is everybody back at the facility. And let me bring that one up. You got some heavy hitters in the room, right? We got Sue Storm, we got Reed Richards, we got Black Panther, Blade. He's breaking it down with Professor X and Magneto, right, Jack?
Yeah, he's trying to get all these remaining people on Earth to Krakoa, but Professor X and Magneto aren't having it. They're already fed up with mankind, guys. They're already fed up with humans. They set up Krakoa in House of 10 to just for a mutant refugee, basically. And they're like, you know what? It's not gonna happen. So we'll see. We'll see
Yes.
where it goes.
So next thing they start talking about is what weapons can they use against Null? Who's around? What weapons? The nullifier, no pun intended. They start talking about a lot of these weapons, and now they're having back and forths, and bang, Namor shows up. He's like, "You clowns." He's like, "We've been fighting in the darkness for forever. You guys are just dealing with it right now." He's like, "And you're losing." He's like, "So let me be service." Obviously, he's got this huge army. He controls 75% of the world because 70% of the world is water. Okay. So he hits the room. Now everybody's like, it's all hands on deck. Okay. Next thing we see, let me bring up that, is Tony saying, the only way we're going to be able to do this is with Eddie. Okay. And we need Eddie to be able to bond back to the hive. And the only way we could save Eddie is with a symbiote. All right. So that happens, and then again, they start asking about certain people. Where's this one? Where's that one? And one of the people, or not even people, one of the beings that they ask for is Dylan, where's your cat? Jay.
Sleeper, guys. Last we left off in Web of Venom, The Good Son, you see Normie Osborn with Sleeper, guys. Sleeper is a key. I still think he's a key, guys. His first issue, still affordable. I think he's going to be a major, major player in this game, guys. You could find it in Venom, first host, number 3. Last we seen him, he took the form of a cat. He's with little Normie Osborn. He's basically a protector. He knows the powers that Dylan has. Normie Osborn knows the powers that Dylan had. We haven't heard from him since, but I do think he's going to be a major key in this story upcoming.
Yeah, you know how Cates does it. They get your attention off something, and then all of a sudden it comes flying back in. So could be a book to look out for. Maybe, maybe not. But we're showing you guys so that you can make the decision on your own. Next up, like I said, they start the who's left basically says we need all hands on deck. And one of the things is Namor basically says, I have to go and resurrect or release the Black Tide. Okay. And we don't know much about the Black Tide yet, but we could tell that this is some beings that scare even Namor, and he knows that there's going to be hell to pay for bringing them out for the fight, but it's for the greater good at this point. So these characters could have some legs. I'm not really sure. The way that this panel reads, it kind of seems like there's going to be they're going to be part of the battle, and then there's going to be some battling on their own, later on to try to get them back into these depths where they were kind of locked in. Kind of the first cameo. This is kind of the first full appearance, I guess, of the Black Tide, but the first time they really mention them is in this tie-in book Namor, King of Black Namor #1. There's a panel in there right at the beginning that you don't know what he's really talking about until now. But now going back, you could see that this is the origin of the Black Tide, at least the start of the origin of the Black Tide and how they became locked away in the depths by Namor. So again, maybe an important book, maybe not. We're trying to break it down for you guys so you can decide on your own.
Now, Matt, you know here at Pressable Defects, we do our homework. What did you discover about this? What did Marvel do with this
So,
specific name?
okay, so Marvel did go out and trademark the Black Tide. Okay, that could be for one of two reasons. Maybe they're going to become something bigger, or maybe it's because of the fact that Image had a title way back in the 90s called The Black Tide. Was not a big run. They may have just done it to kind of save their own ass over there, just to cover all their bases. We don't know. But I wanted to make sure I brought that up, that I first found the fact that they did the trademark, but then I also found that there was a title by Image. So the two could be connected, or maybe they have nothing to do with each other. So again, we're just giving you guys the information so that you can make your own decision. So Blade's out. You know, I'm going to keep going forward. Blade's out. He's trying to recruit Dracula to help, right? We're not going to talk about Dracula's first appearance. Tomb of Dracula #1. That ain't a spec book no more. That's out of reach for a lot of people. You know, they reach out to Kingpin. They need him and his thugs. It's all hands on deck. There's no good guys or bad guys anymore at this point, right? Next thing we see Tony Stark using Extremis to try to extract a symbiote from one of the Grendel dragons. Okay, and we see right away that the he thought he broke the connection to the Hive, but Null is just way too strong. Null is too strong, and it starts bonding, right, Jay, with the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, right off the bat, he flies into the dragon's mouth. He's like, you know what? Let me use a little extremist DNA, try to extract this to help save Eddie. He's thinking, kind of like how Venom works with Eddie, that maybe if he bonds Eddie to the symbiote from the Grendel dragon, that'll revive Eddie and heal him, like Venom has done in the past. But it hasn't worked, guys. You could see he's pouring it in there. It changed Iron Man's suit. You know, you could see the symbiote basically took over his suit, but he does still have that little bucket full of some symbiote that he attempts to drop onto Eddie, and it doesn't work, guys. It's not looking good.
You see, Jay pointed out, you have the little heartbeat for these last few pages of Eddie. We're seeing that right off the bat, something's wrong. Eddie's eyes turn into the null symbols. They're trying to fight the Grendel. The symbiote is fighting them back. It's part of Null. It's part of the Hive. It knows what's happening. So now they're trying to get this thing off. They're trying to get the symbiote out of there. And Dylan is like, get the fuck out of my way. I will take care of this. But nobody's listening. And then, bang, Jay.
He blasted him with it, guys. We've seen it before. Guys, we've been talking about these Dylan books for months, guys. Since Pressable Defects has started, we've been talking about Dylan Brock. We talked about it with Thorough. We went into an in-depth conversation how Dylan is going to be a huge character, guys. Richard Reed says that Dylan is the key to this. He is the key to this. And you see him blast the symbiote off his dad, Eddie. At this point, they realize Dylan is no joke, guys. Listen, specking is all fun and games. It's part of the hobby. If you have those Dylan books, we told you so. They are going to heat up. I bet you, as we're watching this video right now, if you go look on eBay, these Dylan books have heated up, guys. He is a major player in the King in Black.
Yep. And while they're kind of doing a little celebration, mini celebration, that Dylan's the key to this victory, Eddie is done. Eddie's
Flatlined.
This was, I think, for me at this point, you kind of knew it was coming, but it was still shocking to see. it was still shocking to see.
So here's my thing. Did the symbiote kill Eddie? Did the fall kill Eddie? Or did Dylan blasting that symbiote kill Eddie? We don't know.
He was in bad shape to begin with, so I don't think he had much time either way. Now the issue ends, and we're saying to ourselves, well, is Eddie dead? Are they going to revive him in number 3? We didn't know. So I learned that it's good to read the end of King in Black where they have the after credits and the clubhouse notes and all that crap. So I started reading the King in Black, Letters to the King in Black. And I'm just going to read a little passage. I don't want to show it on the screen because you can't really read it, so I'm just going to read it myself. Eddie's death has always been such a turning point of this story that during those planning sessions, the first 2 issues of King in Black and its assorted tie-ins were the easy part. We knew that this was the point where we were driving towards. This was the North Star. So this is basically confirming that Eddie is dead. Okay, there's no doubt about it. How long will he be dead for? It's comics. It could be 1 issue, but he is dead right now. We're getting that information that Eddie is dead. So, when I read that, I was like, wow, they are really committed to the fact that he's dead right now. So Jay, I mean, I was a little. I think we kind of had a feeling. You said early on, before King in Black, you had a feeling that Eddie was going to die, or maybe Dylan was going to die, but there you go.
Yeah, and Kate said it. He said that after issue 31, it was going to be a major changing point to the Venom character. I don't know what happens after this, guys. We talked about it all the time. We don't collect deaths here. We don't invest in deaths. We're investing in this story because it's a good read. Does Dylan move on as the new Venom? Does the Venom symbiote move on to someone else? It has moved on to people in the past. Flash Thompson has taken the role of Venom. Eddie Brock took it back. We got to see what goes on, guys. But right now, Eddie is gone and Dylan is pissed.
Yep. So another thing that I found while reading through the letters, because I just decided let's keep reading them, is that I guess somebody wrote in and asked about Toxin, the symbiote Toxin, and here was the answer. Hi, Mattias. Don't worry, we have plans for Toxin. He's a favorite symbiote of those of us here at Venom HQ, and we've wanted to find a way to properly bring him back into the Venom fold since Jerry Conway and Mike Perkins collaborated on the senses-shattering Carnage series that returned him to prominence. Keep reading. So, guys, they're basically telling you Toxin is coming back into the storyline at some point. We don't know if it's sooner or later. But, Jay, first appearance, what do we got?
Venom Carnage, guys.
Number 2.
Another book you could still grab on the cheap, guys. I don't know how long it lasts. We've seen what, guys, just from a little bit of move of speculation for Venom and Carnage. You've seen the scales move. ASM 300 is at an all-time high, guys. ASM 361 is at an all-time high. Toxin, Scream, Venom, Carnage, all these symbiotes are heating up, guys, because of this storyline that Cates is doing. It might be something, it could be something to grab while you could still grab it on the cheap.
All right, let's take one. So, guys, right after the letters, you now get a preview for Venom 32. Okay, so we know that Venom is the huge tie-in. You got to be reading that one. And basically, you see Eddie. It's after he hits the car. Okay, he now kind of falls through like some type of plane of existence, and now he's just falling into darkness. He's falling into darkness. He's talking to himself. It's very reminiscent of Venom 31. And Jay, it kind of reminded us of something a few months ago that was published, correct?
Yeah. So it's deja vu, guys. We've seen this before. Who did we see it with? We seen it with Wraith. Listen, Wraith is not a human. Eddie Brock is a human, but we seen Null smack both of these guys out of existence. So again, we seen Wraith falling from the sky, falling, falling, falling. Now we're seeing Eddie falling, falling, falling. Is this him falling before he hits the car? Is it him basically after death? That's what I believe. This is him descending into another existence, but this is the second person that Null has smacked and that they're falling from existence.
So Jay mentioned Wraith, and this is the book that happens in. This was a few months back, Web of Venom Wraith. And we'll just take you through a couple panels here. At this point, he's in his father's laboratory, and he finds this null symbol, but it has something different in the middle there, okay? And we'll talk about that in a second. And then this is the panel that Jay was referring to right after he gets his ass kicked by Null. He just gets drop kicked off the planet. I guess that's Clintar that they're on. He just gets literally drop kicked, and he's falling through the darkness, just like Eddie was.
And if you notice, they're both the same color as they're falling, just a lifeless blue and white color. It's very reminiscent.
And we do know what happened with Wraith, though, right? And here it is.
Caught by the light.
Okay. The shape, the one from my father's lab, the light he saw here, and with it a voice singing and burning through the void. So we see the word void, we see the word light, and you see this symbol. Okay. This light caught him while he was falling. Okay. So last scene that we see in this book, Venom Web of Wraith. I never could say that fucking right. Jesus Christ. We see Wraith kind of right before he disappears. We don't know what happens to him. Everybody loved this character, so I'm sure he's not gone. But he says to Eddie Brock, there is another. Null. He has a shadow, an opposite, a god of light. We don't know exactly who he's referring to at this point, right, Jay?
Oh, yeah. You don't know what he's referring to. We all know that Null is the god of darkness. He is the void, but there's an opposite. And if you go back to the Jason Aaron run of Thor, God and Thunder, you see the actual first appearance of Null. And I wouldn't say he's defeated. I say it's kind of a draw. But you see some type of knight in gold armor and Null both defeated on the ground. Could this be that character, this unknown character that everybody's speculating on? It could be. But, you know, for every darkness, there is light. For every light, there is darkness. So they wouldn't put this in if it wasn't for a reason.
Right. So we knew when this issue came out, we knew it meant something. And it's been a few months, so people have started to forget about it again, okay? We did a little bit of more digging, okay? Yes, Jay mentioning that gold character, that I guess it's kind of a celestial. We're assuming we were never really told. So we did a little bit of more digging. And the reason we're starting to connect these dots is for the following. I found the solicitation for Venom 33. Not that I found it. It's out there. Everybody can find it. And it reads, as the King in Black spreads his suffocating darkness across the Marvel Universe, Eddie Brock looks for a light. Any light that can pierce it. And obviously in this issue it says, and comes up empty-handed. Okay, so obviously Venom 33 is not going to be the answer to everybody's prayers at this point. But they're talking about a light, guys. They're talking about the light, right? We got Eddie falling. We had Wraith falling. We had the light catch Wraith. It gave him enough power to be able to give Eddie a message. It was, Wraith's essence was sent to Eddie for a reason, to let him know Null was coming, and to also let him know that there is an opposite. Maybe to let him know that there is a way to save Earth, okay? And Jay, I'm going to bring this panel up. This is, at this point, we are really, really speculating. This is, right here, we just connected some dots for everybody. Everybody can kind of formulate their own opinion about that, but now we're going down our rabbit hole. So just hang with us and tell us what you think. So Jay, I'll let you take this one away.
So guys, here it is. The Living Tribunal. Who is Adam Warlock right now?
Right now, yep.
Guys, I think this is a big character. Listen, Kate's done Cosmic. He's done Doctor Strange. He's done Thanos. He's done Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's done Guardians of the Galaxy. Who hasn't he done? He's done Silver Surfer. He hasn't done Adam Warlock yet. This is a big big character that could fight Null, guys. What really made me think about Adam Warlock was, Matt, if you could go back to that symbol. We see that symbol right now. It's a circle with 3 sets of 2 dots. What that jumped out to me was one head with 3 sets of eyes around it. And that jumped out as the living tribunal, guys. I could be wrong, but if I was a betting man, that's what that symbol means, guys. One circle representing the head with, 3 sets of 2. That's eyes. So I'm hoping that this is Adam Warlock as the living tribunal coming to fight Null. Matt, get into a little bit of the living tribunal. What's his role in Marvel?
Right. So Jay mentioned earlier the god of darkness versus, I guess, the god of light, which could be the one above all God. Like maybe that's who the opposite is. But the living tribunal died at some point in Marvel history, and Warlock took the mantle. And the reason he had to is because he had to make a deal with the one above all. So he had to make a deal because they had. I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole, but Warlock destroyed the universe. The only way they were going to bring it back is if Warlock served as the living tribunal for the one above all. So, is the one above all the opposite of Null, but he's sending the living tribunal? I could see that happening because the living tribunal basically balances out the universe. When there's something too powerful, he comes in and he takes care of it. Okay, throughout the history of Marvel, that's what his job has been. All right, so couple little books. They're not really comics. We have to do a little bit more digging. Maybe we'll throw it up on the community page or IG. Jay, you want to talk about these books a little bit?
Yeah, so okay, so this is the first appearance of that second kind of being of Adam Warlock. And this is Thanos Infinity Revelation #1, Volume 1. This is a hardcover book, guys. It's not in a comic book form right now. As much as we researched, we couldn't find it. It's just a hardcover book by Jim Starlin. Matt, why don't you get into a little bit of this version of Adam Warlock?
So real quick, this is Adam Warlock from Earth 1914, which ends up becoming the Living Tribunal. So this is the first appearance of that version of Adam Warlock. The Living Tribunal, like Null, exists once across all the multiverse, whereas Adam Warlock has multiples. This is his 1914 version. This is the version that becomes the Living Tribunal and actually takes over for the 616 Adam Warlock as well, because that one ceases to exist. So the next book, Jay, what is this one? Thanos, the Infinity Finale, also a hardcover.
Yeah, absolutely. Also a hardcover, guys. Investment wise, guys, it's a hardcover. I don't know. Again, written by Jim Starlin, but a good read. Absolutely, guys. Listen, Warlock, he's pivotal, guys, especially with all this cosmic stuff. We've seen what he did with Infinity Watch. These 2 books are great books to read if this does end up panning out, because Warlock was already a powerful character. Now that he takes the role of the Living Tribunal,
right, in this book. Yeah.
So this is the first time you see him as the Living Tribunal. This could be huge, guys.
Absolutely.
But
so,
then,
that was our little bit of a rabbit hole for us. It was fun. We wanted to break down the second issue, which we did. And then we also wanted to bring you some books. And then again, on top of that, some of our little further out theories. I mean, I think it's not a bad theory. I think that could happen, but it's fun. We're having fun with this. We hope that you guys enjoyed a little bit of information that you could take and make the decisions on whether to grab some of this stuff, or maybe you come up with a better theory, and let us know in the comments. So, as I always say, if you could hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, throw comments. We love that the most. We love hearing from you guys and interacting. We take those comments seriously. And of course, if you could share this video, share the channel, get it out there, we would really appreciate it. So, for Matty Forge, Jay the Butcher 105, this is Pressable Defects, and we will see you on the next video.